It looks like it's wrapped up, but I'm not really sure if it's injured. Okay, Richard Pratt, Richie. Kristen Stacy.
Here.
Heather Tan.
Here.
Michael Treff.
Here.
Jonathan Trom.
Here.
Ella. Christiana. Kyrie.
Here.
Okay, what we want to do today is go over chapters 8 through 13, some possible test questions. You want to make sure you study that. So there'll be some key fill-in type questions on the test. There'll be about 70 fill-in questions. So you want to memorize some of these key points from chapters 8 through 13. Most of these fill-in questions, most of these answers are black bold print terms from chapters 8 through 13 in your U.S. history textbook. So let's do a march through chapters 8 through 13, some of the key points, names, phrases, events that you need to know. And if you study these, you'll do well on the test. Also, I'm considering putting an essay or two on your test, but if we do an essay, it'll only be one if it's a one-page essay, or two short answer, which would be half a page each, handwritten. So let's go to the first here. These will be out of order. They won't be in a particular order, but what is the name or phrase for the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution? First 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution, what do we call them? Yes, ma'am?
The Bill of Rights.
The Bill of Rights, that's correct. Phrase for the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. Name or phrase for the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights. Name President George Washington's Secretary of State. George Washington's Secretary of State. We'll go to Kenzie. No, good guess. Washington's Secretary of State. Yes?
Is that Thomas Jefferson?
Yes, it was. Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson. So Washington's Secretary of State, when he was president, George Washington was president, Secretary of State was Thomas Jefferson. Okay, name President George Washington's Secretary of the Treasury. George Washington's Secretary of the Treasury. Yes, Mr. Trapp.
Is it Alexander Hamilton?
That's right, Alexander Hamilton. Who is Alexander Hamilton, if you want to get it correct on a show called Jeopardy? Okay, so that's Alexander Hamilton. This famous backwoodsman and hunter of Kentucky pioneered a trail through the Cumberland Gap called the Wilderness Road. It was the main route for early Kentucky settlements. Yes, ma'am. Ella.
Daniel Boone.
Daniel Boone. Daniel Boone, that's right. Ella's correct. It's Daniel Boone, the hero in the state of Kentucky. They even have a public high school in northern Kentucky called Boone High School. So Daniel Boone, famous backwoodsman from Kentucky, pioneered a trail through the Cumberland Gap called the Wilderness Road. It was the main route for early Kentucky settlement. That backwoodsman was Daniel Boone. Daniel Boone. Name the second president of the United States of America. If George Washington was our first president, who was the second president of the United States of America? Ella.
John Adams.
John Adams. John Adams. Second president of the United States of America, John Adams. First president was Washington, second president was Adams. Okay, this rebellion took place because many farmers did not like the tax on liquor. Many farmers did not like the tax on liquor. Matthew.
Whiskey Rebellion.
The Whiskey Rebellion, that's right, the Whiskey Rebellion. The Whiskey Rebellion. Many of the farmers did not like the tax on liquor, and they led a Whiskey Rebellion. The Whiskey Rebellion. Isn't there a famous Star Wars film where there was a rebellion? What did they call that? The Rebel Alliance. Didn't they call them rebels? They were rebelling against the Empire. Okay, the XYZ affair led to the slogan, millions for defense, but not blank, 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 blank. I repeat, the XYZ affair led to the slogan, quote, millions for defense, but not blank, 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 blank. We will go to Mr. Brenner.
But not 1 cent for tribute.
but not 1 cent for tribute. Millions for defense, meaning you spend on the military, but not 1 cent for tribute. Tribute would be paying off the terrorists or the bad guys. Not 1 cent for tribute. We're not going to pay them off. We'll fight them, but we won't pay them off. And the XYZ affair, of course, was with France. That was a diplomatic fight, you might say, with France. Jefferson and Madison both believed that the Alien and Sedition Acts were unconstitutional. True or false? I repeat, Jefferson and Madison both believed that the Alien and Sedition Acts were unconstitutional. True or false? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Barton.
False.
Wrong. It's true. They did.
What was the phrase again?
Jefferson and Madison both believed that the Alien and Sedition Acts were unconstitutional. That's true. Okay, this amendment enabled electors to cast separate ballots for president and vice president. What amendment to the U.S. Constitution enabled electors to cast separate ballots for president and vice president? Yes, ma'am.
12th Amendment.
12th, the 12th Amendment, that's right, the 12th Amendment. Now, what's so significant about that, the 12th Amendment? What happened prior to the 12th Amendment as far as presidential elections?
Didn't someone get stuck with like a vice president and that believed the opposite of what they
Right.
believed and it was all?
That's right. They didn't want to be stuck with someone that was like their heated enemy they disagreed with, that got the second number of votes, and that would be forced on them as their vice president. They wanted to be able to not have that situation happen. Yes?
Could you repeat your question?
Yes. This amendment enabled electors to cast separate ballots for president and vice president. It was the 12th Amendment. Now, if the first president of the United States was George Washington, the second president of the United States was Adams, who was the third president of the United States of America. Third president. Let's go to the back of the room.
Jefferson?
That's right, Jefferson. It was Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson. Okay, this isn't a question on the test, but I want to see if anybody in here either remembers this because you have a good memory, or if someone in here, our visitor today, knows the answer to this. It's an interesting question, though. Who was Thomas Jefferson's, name one of Thomas Jefferson's female slaves who happened to be the half-sister of Thomas Jefferson's wife? What was her name? Okay, anybody have good notes from class from last time? This woman was the half-sister of Thomas Jefferson's wife. Someone should have it in their notes, back there. Who is it? That's right, Sally's her first name?
Oh.
Yes.
Jensen.
No?
Oh, true.
Anybody have it in their notes? You guys should take better notes. We mentioned it in class. Sally Hemings. Sally Hemings. Because some of her descendants actually had DNA tests done and proved that either Jefferson or his brother is in their ancestral line somewhere. So Sally Hemings. Sally Hemings. Name the third president of the United States. We got that, Thomas Jefferson. Okay, we got that. Name the Supreme Court case which allowed the court to gain the power of judicial review. Who was it that said Sally back there? Okay, very good job. Okay, name the Supreme Court case which allowed the court to gain the power of judicial review.
Is it
Ruben.
Marbury versus Madison?
That's right. Marbury v. Madison. Marbury versus Madison. Marbury v. Madison. And Supreme Court cases are usually underlined, or today I guess italicized, because we don't underline that much, but if you're writing, usually underline. Marbury v. Madison, which stands for Marbury versus Madison. The Supreme Court case which allowed the court to gain the power of judicial review was Marbury v. Madison. Who was the Supreme Court Chief Justice who decided